They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. Eat the cat.
I'm like, is that a play on like eating pussy?
I think so.
Like eat the cat?
Is that what Donald Trump meant? Just kidding.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think that's what he meant.
Cheers to Bad Therapy, episode 36.
30 motherfucking 6.
Tink. These new glasses are sad and pathetic.
They suck. Everyone today at work told me that I look like Little Red Riding Hood, and I'm kind of vibing with it. And then like 2 seconds ago, Madison looked at me and she was like, "You're giving goody two shoes."
Like an Amish girl in church.
Is that offensive?
Yeah, I mean, no,
She's
but
like, "Look at you, little Amish girl."
it's like her half up, half down, and like her rosy little cheeks, and like it's tied all the way up at the fucking top of her throat. Like she would never want anyone to see, you know.
Yeah, the goods.
Her
bananas.
Badoosie. Smell like Badoosie. I fucking love that.
My bananas? Wait, rewind.
Here's what I want to know. Why is it closed at the top? Like, are you hiding something?
No, it's fashion.
Oh.
Well, okay, so I was wearing it like unbuttoned all day like this.
Okay, so now I get the Little Red Riding Hood thing. It looks like a cloak.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like I just buttoned it up. I'll leave it unbuttoned. Goddamn, I don't look Amish and shit.
I wasn't coming for
I
her.
like technology. Okay, I like sex.
I think Amish people have sex, Sally.
No.
Yeah.
No.
How do they make more Amish?
Hey Siri.
I mean, there's
Do Amish people have sex? She said, I don't know how to respond to that.
Yeah, they do, for sure.
But like not till
Definitely not until they're married.
Yeah, not till after marriage. Isn't there like
there may be some rules about only doing it in order to procreate?
Yeah.
Like there's no like
we should stop talking about this.
like,
Before we offend anybody. Basically, from my understanding, Amish people. No, I'm just kidding.
So we got off on the right foot here. Welcome back, baddies. We're so happy to see you. We're finally getting settled into our new set. We're comfortable. The vibes are happy.
Yes.
We finally figured out the way that everything's gonna be. So obviously we'd love some feedback on the set if you guys like it, if you don't like it.
Yeah.
But this is what it's gonna be, so you better fucking like
So
it.
like if you don't like it,
don't
keep it to yourself.
Yeah, don't say that. Only tell me if you like it, please.
smell like Badoosie.
Let's talk about OnlyFans.
Okay.
Allie's starting an OnlyFans.
Oh. You know what? I wish I would. I work my little tail off.
Little
My
Badoosie
little
off.
Amish Badoosie. I worked myself down to the absolute bone, okay? And
You make about $12.
I'm scraping for pennies. I feel like I could make a good living shaking that Badoosie.
I'm not gonna lie, and no shame to OnlyFans girls, they make a shit ton of money just capitalizing off of, you know,
Men.
I wish that I could. I wish that I would. I wish that I could. My reason for
You would be really good at it. See, I probably, like I say I wish that I could do that, but like I'm not the most sexual.
You're not the performance type.
No, I'm very much like very shy when it comes to that type of stuff. And you're just like in general not a shy person.
No, not at all.
And you've always been just more of like a sexually affluent
Confident,
individual. Very
yeah.
confident. And it bodes well for you in that area of life.
Believe me, there was a time like when I was in my late teens, early 20s, before I knew anything about life, when I was like, should I dance? But the problem was not my morals or anything like that, because I probably would have done it. I danced like a baby fucking deer. Like a literal...
Yeah, but you could shake your ass.
I can, but like that can only get you so far. Like,
Yeah, but...
stripping is an art.
Yeah.
Those girls are... I mean, you have to be able to move. You have to have rhythm. You have to have like some finesse.
Yeah, I wouldn't really say that you're like a dancer, but you can dance in like the sense that you could have done something.
I could have made it work for sure.
You could have done something.
And honestly, I shouldn't say it. Like, it definitely was a moral value thing as well. It just like, I never felt comfortable in presenting myself like that. I always
Yeah.
knew that I could do something else
More,
and still be
yeah.
successful.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when you do that, you do kind of put yourself in a box.
Yeah.
Like, if you ever want to stop doing OnlyFans, or you want to stop making porn, or you want to stop stripping, like, it's out there. People can see it. It's
I'm pretty sure, yeah, it shows up on your background check.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you can't get away from it. It's like now your identity, which like to each their own. But I think a lot of the reason that a lot of women don't do that, because every woman could do it and make a decent living, because men will pay for
Men
it.
will pay
Men
to watch
will
a
like it.
Freaking zucchini
Little
and
baby
a
deer dance.
tomato.
Yeah. And a zucchini and a tomato and Badoosie and a banana.
Zucchini and a tomato. You would have got it if you were here earlier.
Go check out my TikTok.
Yeah, men will pay for anything, and kudos to the women who have capitalized on that, because those women are living in $1 million houses.
Yeah, like they don't
Bugattis.
give a motherfuck. And you know what's funny is like people are gonna judge you for anything you do.
I mean, it's a very personal thing, right? Like it's all your business out there. I personally could never do it. I just wouldn't feel like authentic about it.
I think that's probably a good thing.
But I saw this thing from like I don't know if it was like Forbes list or something, but it was like the top 5 income producing companies, and OnlyFans was the number 1 with $30 billion in revenue.
See, okay, let's talk about this actually for a second, because why are people paying for OnlyFans when there is free
porn, or you
like
can go
websites,
or you can go on Reddit and literally find the OnlyFans girls' private stuff on Reddit. Like it's literally not that hard.
I think like they pay for it, and this is where men are so fucking creepy and disgusting. It's like they pay for it because they want to feel like they're having an interaction with the girl, because you could like DM them, and like they promise, from my understanding, like they promise that they'll talk to you and reach out to you.
Or make exclusive content, and that's exactly what it is. The men are paying for that like relationship, the exclusivity that comes with like, I'm seeing this because I paid for it, so like everyone else isn't.
By the way, are you fucking dumb or are you stupid? Because the content that those girls are sending you, especially the top dollar like 1%ers, it's repurposed content that they've already sent to 100 billion other people.
And it's very like public stuff that you could find, but that's exactly what it is. They find a girl and they form an obsession with the actual person. Yeah. That's why a lot of these girls have like Instagram, they're influencers, they're very like public.
I know there's like a certain genre of women that like the attention, like that type of attention from men, which I'm not judging you. You know, whatever, to each their own. How many times am I going to say that this podcast?
How many times are we going to say we're not judging them?
Well, I'm really not, because like I don't give a fuck what you do. But for me personally, I knew that I could never be a stripper. Like I can like dance. I'm not like sexy, and I can't like shake my ass. I feel like I have rhythm and I have, you know, whatever.
You could do the bachata or something.
Yeah, like I could do the salsa.
Yeah. On stage, she starts salsa. You're like, boo!
Next to the pool. All my clothes on. The reason that I know that I could never do that as a career is because I get pissed. I'd be that girl on stage like, what the fuck are you looking at, bro?
Like, don't fucking look at me.
No, literally, like they're paying me to look at me.
Oh, that's
my whole job. I hate feeling
objectified.
It's objectified by people that this is a crazy take. I hate feeling objectified by men that I don't want to objectify me. Do you understand? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Like, you're old and creepy. I don't
like
want
some
that.
old creepy fucking weirdo. Like, I'm not gonna be nice to you and let you like stare at my goodies. Like, that's for someone that I want to look at my goodies. You know what I'm saying?
And I also feel like for me, and obviously this doesn't go for everyone, because I'm not saying this determines the value of a woman, but for me, I felt like it would have brought down my self-worth and my value when it came to a man that I really wanted to be with.
Yeah, 100%.
Because it's like, if it's for everyone, then it's not special.
Yeah, 100%.
It's for no one.
Yeah.
I was going to say that too, but it didn't make sense.
No, it made sense.
If it's for everyone, then it's for no one. Yeah, for sure. And when you meet somebody, or God forbid you get a little older, you get a couple wrinkles, your ass get a little flabby, what do you have at that point?
Yeah.
I mean, a shit ton of money, I guess.
Yeah. A fucking yacht.
Yeah, literally.
And a swimming pool and a fucking
So actually
Bugatti.
On this topic, this is something I've wanted to talk about with you. What is your opinion on your man watching porn?
Obviously, I don't love the idea of my man getting off to another woman. I want to say that I don't really care. I don't want to know if they do. If it's like an obsessive thing, then we have a problem.
Like an addiction.
But then the other side of it is like, if you're truly satisfied in your relationship, you shouldn't need to. You can come to me for that if you need that. You know what I mean? Like, ask me for what you want. You don't need to go searching for another woman to please you.
Yeah.
In that way, like sexually. And then the other side of it is like, if it's affecting our sex life, like then that's also a problem. So I feel like there's factors. I'm not going to say you can't watch porn. You know what I mean? Because we're all human. Like, I'm not going to say it's natural either, but I feel like for a man, men are more
disconnected.
Not disconnected, but like men are more inclined to need more stimulation in that area of life than women.
Yeah.
And women get it more from like an emotional side of themselves. I do wonder though, like if a man didn't watch any porn, if they would also maybe tap in more to their emotional emotional, like
connect on a deeper level with their woman. Yeah.
And like relate sex to more of an emotional thing rather than just a pleasure thing.
Well, this is my problem with porn, is that it's so not real. There's
Yeah.
nothing real about it. And I think men, especially that watch it at a young age before they've had any real sexual experiences, then directly relate what sexual experiences should be to what they've seen in porn.
Yeah.
Which is fake moaning, fake positions, fake bodies, fake people.
Yeah,
fake...
like doing the absolute least and getting the biggest reaction is
no,
crazy.
exactly. Like, it's a lot of acting, especially coming from the women. It's not realistic in any way, shape, or form.
It's an act. It's literally a show.
It is actually
to
acting.
get somebody off.
Yeah.
Like, that is the whole point.
Yes.
So it's supposed to be like the most heightened experience for somebody so that they can get there quicker, which is kind of disgusting.
Totally.
If you think about
It's
it.
like actually pretty fucked up.
And also, like, yeah, if you're in a relationship, it's a little bit crazy, but like, I'm not going to judge somebody at the same time if they do it like every so often. Like,
Yeah.
I don't really give a fuck about that as long as you're being loyal to me. You're not obsessed with it. You're not like watching like a certain
just, like,
girl
a
on
casual
OnlyFans.
thing.
Like,
Yeah,
if it's just
exactly.
like online person that you don't know, like you're just looking for like a, I don't know.
You know, I can say I used to think that it didn't bother me at all. I've been in multiple relationships where I was like, same as you. Like, as long as it's not a problem, as long as you don't have expectations of that for our sex life, then fine. I don't really want to know about it, but it's not the
Yeah.
end of the world. But actually, with the person that I'm engaged to, it actually became something that I was like, I drew a hard line. I was like, no.
Really?
Not that he was like obsessively watching porn or anything. It was very like...
But like, maybe it was just a different type of emotional well, I think for you too, because you're somebody that's never really, from what I know, had like sex be something that is emotional and
that
like
matters so
connected.
much, yeah.
So maybe that being your first experience with that made it like feel differently.
I think my issue with it now, as I've gotten older and I like see it for what it really was, because don't get me wrong, like everyone's partaken at some point. I realize now that there is nothing about that is like normal or natural or right. I feel like it's just something that's been like pushed on our society as a way to make money, honestly. And obviously it works. People are...
Well, it's more directed towards like, if you even look at like the things that are offered on those websites, it's directed towards men.
Of course.
I think the other reason that maybe I don't maybe care, I'm not going to say I do or I don't. Obviously, I'm not in a relationship. This would probably be different had I had someone in mind, like thinking about this. But imagining someone like watching these videos, it's not like they're attracted to the person. They're just there for, I mean, I would hope they're not attracted to the person. They're just there for one reason and one reason only. And so like, once the job is done, they're gone.
Absolutely. And I know that that's what it is. And I don't know what changed in my head for me where I was just like, I'm not comfortable with it. And I don't like it. I don't like the thought of it. I don't like the way it makes me feel. And, you know, I do feel like when you're in a relationship, not that we're religious or anything, but when you're in a relationship where marriage is involved, it's like there just shouldn't be any outside factors like that are coming into your marriage that influence your relationship, your sex life, any of it. And so, yeah, that was kind of so weird for me, right? Because I was like...
Yeah, you've always been a very like sexual person.
Open person. So yeah, I do understand that it's entertainment, but I just feel like in a mature relationship where one person is not comfortable with it, that there's no space for it. If everyone's cool with it...
I think if your partner isn't okay with it, then you should not do it.
Or if you're like addicted to it, because I do think porn addiction is like a major thing in our society.
Yeah. To be honest, I think it's better off that we just don't partake in it. Like, I'm fully on board with that. I'm not saying I want my partner to do that. I'm just saying I don't think I would feel one way or the other unless it became a problem. I just wouldn't want to know about it, to be honest. Like,
don't ask, don't tell.
Yeah, like I just don't want to know. And
Yeah.
if I feel like it's affecting our sex life or like something's wrong and like that ends up being the problem, then yeah, no mas.
And it's so funny because like none of that ever happened. We never had any issues or anything. But there was just one day when I was like actually had the visual in my head of him watching that and like how explicit it is and like getting enjoyment from that. And I was like, no, we're done.
I did have a relationship where I felt very insecure when I was with him. And I think it had a lot to do with a lot of different factors of the relationship. But I remember like kind of like I had a vision of him like watching
it,
that. And I fucking hated it. Like
Yeah.
it made me hate women. It made me hate like sex. Like it made me want to know about all of his like past. Like it just made me like
it triggered something in you.
Yeah, like it just brought up so many things that like I didn't want to know. And I was recently talking to somebody who didn't watch it at all. And it was honestly kind of a relief. So like when you asked me that question, I don't don't know. Like, I've
Maybe.
never really had a preference on it, but I guess if I were to choose, I would say no.
No, thank you.
Yeah, like, why would anyone want that? I'm just like,
totally. And that's the thing is, like, my partner has never wandered his eye in his life. The
Yeah.
most trusting, the most loving, the most wonderful person. It wasn't like an insecurity thing for me. I think it was more like I loved him so much and so deeply that I just didn't want anything else in our relationship.
Well, yeah,
Like,
it's
he's
like,
so respectful of that.
Why
It's-
would you want your partner to
Yeah.
be stimulated by someone that's not you?
Totally. And like he feels the same way. So, but in your situation, when there's a guy who's like not a good person, of
Yeah.
course, you're going to be like,
Yeah, I guess I've just never really like thought about it. In my mind, I'm like, I don't care, but I'm sure if I was like in the situation, it would absolutely
you'd
bother
be like,
me.
yeah.
Especially me.
And actually, coming full circle to this, I saw something today that made me cackle. I actually cackled out loud. I was like looking on Instagram. I don't know if any of you have ever seen this girl. She's like a golf girl, like a real golfer. She's a good golfer, but she golfs like with her entire rack out. Like it is, she's swinging the club, her titties are swinging around. It's like her thing, right? Like that's
Yeah.
that's her claim to fame. Which no shame or anything, but it's a lot. Like it's you look at it and you're like, holy shit, was I assaulted by this woman's jugs?
Yeah.
And so I went to her page just to like look at it, and you can see, you know, whose mutual followers are. And I clicked at it, and there's like 15 mutual followers, and there's like 15 guys, of course, and 6 of them are married, 3 of them are in long-term relationships. I look at like a couple of her posts. Every one of them is liked by all these guys. I'm like, you know that it's public
Everyone
information.
can see that.
When you follow and like somebody's shit, right? Like everybody can see that. Are you humiliated? Because I'm humiliated for you, for your wife, for your work, for everything.
Yeah, your family. I think the thing about liking and like following those types of people is you're actively blasting your name and it's like a specific person. Whereas I feel like when you're obviously maybe not, maybe because I'm a girl and I don't actually watch porn, like I don't know how guys are when they watch porn. Maybe they have a favorite porn artist.
That's what I'm
and
saying.
maybe
Like,
that
so when
makes
they
it
go back
different.
to, yeah, I know. But even just like with the Instagram thing specifically, I just don't understand how some people have gotten so brainwashed by the way that things are in society right now to think that that would be appropriate. Like everyone can see it.
Imagine living back when there was no social media, no girls at your beck and call just by the click of your finger, no dating site, none of it.
No
like
Hinge, no Tinder.
no internet, no nothing. Like if you wanted to get a hold of someone, you had to pick up the phone and call them or show up at their
Or
house.
walk to their house, literally.
It's just crazy to think how diluted our brains are because of all of the interaction and all of the stimulation
The
that
dopamine,
we have.
yeah.
It's just constant. It's like hit, dopamine, boobs,
Likes,
boobs,
calls,
girls,
everything.
girls, date, hinge. It's like, it is so insane. And I think like my grandma, for example, none of that shit existed when she was a kid. And I imagine that world to be so much less stressful. And I bet relationships, well, there was other issues back then
Right,
with
it's like-
relationships, but like if we were as progressive as we are now without all of that extra shit, it's like, how nice would it be? You wouldn't know what someone was doing unless you were literally speaking to them on the phone or with them.
I think that's the biggest difference in, you know, when you look at these couples who are 60, 70 years old and they've been together for 50 years, you know, you see these videos and they ask, how have you guys been together for so long? And it's just like, there was never another option. We chose to be with each other and we stayed together. And that was it. We respected each other. We loved each other. End of story.
Living in the digital age makes dating impossible. There will always be 100 billion other options than what you have right in front of you. And it is so easy to compare what you have, even if you have a good thing, because there's always going to be something that's being shoved down your throat that has a better face, has a better body, seems like the better option. You're always going to be feeling like you could do better because there are so many options. Even if it's not a viable option in your physical hands, you feel like, okay, well, I have this, but look at what's out there. There are too many choices. It's like analysis paralysis. When you're faced with so many different decisions or options, you're just unable to make a decision because you're always going to find a problem with the person that you're with if you're constantly looking at all of the other options that are on social media or there's Hinge, or it's not like you're meeting people in real life where you're getting to make real life decisions. This is all based on the amount of options that are provided for us. They're not even real options. It's like this illusion that you have all of these options because it's all presented to you at the click click of your finger on your phone, and at any given moment you can go and look it up or search for something, or you're just scrolling and something pops up, like some girl that's prettier than your girlfriend or some girl with a fatter ass than your girlfriend, and you're thinking, there are girls out there like that when I have this.
What am I doing?
It's like, it makes it really hard to be grateful for what you have, and I think it's really, really detrimental to dating nowadays.
Well, and that's exactly it. If you met that person that you were fangirling over Instagram or social media, you'd find 100 things wrong with that person too. It's like nobody's as perfect as they seem on social media or over Hinge. And I think it's crazy when I hear people that met on Hinge and they're like actually together. I'm like, how the fuck?
I've been on 2 dates from Hinge.
Spooky.
Like, please fucking ban me from that app, because they were the most horrendous experiences of my life.
It's horrifying. I mean, it's when you really think about it, you're creating a profile, putting the absolute best photos of yourself, the best possible like clips of what you could possibly say.
100%.
You don't have any idea what this person's mannerisms are, if they're funny, if they're nice, if they're smart, if they're anything that you actually care about. You know what they fucking look like. Mm-hmm. You meet in person, which I always thought was so crazy. I get anxiety. I'm like, I'm not gonna go meet
a stranger,
some stranger, unless I'm drunk, which that's the only Hinge date we've ever been on. Literally hammered. Not that I'm saying it's not possible to meet someone like that, because in this day and age, it kind of feels like it's the only way. But how many awkward, horrible experiences that you have to go through with people that you met in person organically, you would have never thought twice.
Yeah.
Think about that. How many guys have you seen on Hinge that you saw at a bar that you did not even consider having a discussion with, that you then went on a date on?
Here's a spinoff of that conversation. And I see this happen all of the time. Like, people want something that they can't have. And the reason that we want what we can't have is because it's feeding an illusion. The illusion of this relationship with somebody that isn't real. They're not treating you well, but they're telling you all of the things that you want to hear for an extended period of time. And your inner child wants them to want you. And when they don't want you, because inevitably people that treat us like shit don't actually want us. They want us to validate them. And that's why they keep us around. And when they're done with us, they discard us. The only reason that somebody wants somebody that doesn't treat them good is because that person fuels their insecurities to the point where they feel like they have to claw for them to want them. Their value now relies in the hands of somebody that they probably don't even like that much, because it is an illusion. The illusion of that person wanting you, it's not reality. If you were to actually be with that person and get to experience that reality, you would be fucking miserable. Also, the second that that person said that they wanted you, you probably wouldn't want them anymore. It's because something inside of you, your inner child, your abandonment issues, your trauma, whatever the case may be, that is the part of you that can't move on, that can't appreciate the person that's in front of you, that wants to treat you well and be good to you and has shown you that they care about you and value you. You want somebody that devalues you, makes you feel like less of a human. If you think that there's somebody else out there that's better for you than the person that you're with because you think the grass is greener, then go be with that person and come back and let me know how green that grass is when it's not being watered. The person that's making you feel valued and cared for and giving you all of the things that you should want and probably do want is being clouded by the thought of somebody that doesn't want you because you want them to want you. You don't actually want them.
You just want them to want you.
You want them to want you. You want them to care about you. You want them to follow through with everything that they may have told you that they feel or that they think or that they want, but they don't actually want that, or they would show you that. But for you to push the people away that actually give a fuck about you for somebody that has proven to you that you don't matter to them,
that's self-sabotage.
And let me just be the first to say, like, I get it because I deal with abandonment issues and I understand the feeling of like wanting somebody to want you that you don't actually want, because I've been in relationships that are 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. I know they're wrong for me. I know they're bad, but I cannot shake the feeling that I want them to want me.
You need their validation.
Solely because they do not want me back.
Absolutely.
The second that you have them back, maybe you get a little bit of gratification. Maybe you're afraid of going through losing them again and feeling those repercussions again. But give it a year, you'll look back on those relationships and you'll be like, what the fuck?
That wasn't my person. That was never my person. Like, and if they did end up wanting me back, I would have realized pretty fucking quickly that that wasn't who I wanted to be with anyway. That's the thing, is humans are psychologically driven by their egos. Even if you know logically that something isn't good for you or something isn't right for you, but you are not being validated, your ego isn't being validated, you will put aside your desires, your morals, your values, your feelings just to validate your ego. And this is like a huge thing with our generation specifically, is our egos are validated so often, every day, social media, all of the things, all the interactions that we have with our peers that aren't really real interactions, a like, the amount of views that you get, how many swipes you got on Hinge, whatever it may be. It's constant dopamine hits, it's constant ego validation, which makes you think when you get into a real relationship with somebody that maybe doesn't give you what you need or what you thought you needed, your ego is clawing for that dopamine, for that validation that you need from that person, but you don't actually care about that person.
Rejection is such a shitty thing to feel. And I think rejection really does something to a person. Rejection makes you think that you want somebody that doesn't treat you well, that doesn't respect you, that doesn't care about you, because you're feeling rejected and you want them to want you so that you can heal that feeling of rejection, even if it is for like a moment. But the longer that you feel rejected from this person, the more you think about them and obsess over them, and it literally becomes an obsession.
Yeah.
And the only way to get past that is to truly just like heal your inner insecurities, or I mean, like, time helps too, but
that person is never going to heal that for you.
No, they're going to make it worse. They're the reason you feel this way. And trying to use them, it's like trying to say like, oh, you're coming down from meth, and so you need meth to fix it. Yeah, meth is going to fix it, but you're going to come down again.
Well, and like, honestly, you don't need meth, you need rehab. And I've said this once, I'll say it again. If you're unsure of somebody's feelings about you, it's because they don't care about you. If you have to question somebody's love and respect and devotion for you because they are not showing you those things, that's because they do not feel those things. If somebody feels a way about you, they're going to show you exactly the way that they feel about you. And you shouldn't have to question it because they're already showing you. If they're not giving you what you need, it's because they don't fucking care about how you feel.
Damn, she was talking to my soul there.
And I think that's why it's so important in this day and age to be so particular about who you're dating and who you're allowing into your life, who you're letting live rent-free in your fucking head. Is somebody living rent-free in your head? Are they doing what's necessary in order to live in your head? Because the last time I checked, you have to fucking pay rent to live somewhere. And if you're letting someone live rent-free, you are doing a disservice to yourself. It is a tenant that needs to be evicted.
It's a squatter.
He's a squatter. You have a squatter living in your head rent-free.
Fucking burn that place to the ground.
Whenever you're in a situation where you feel like you are doing yourself a disservice, but you don't know how to make a better decision for yourself because you're too emotionally involved, ask yourself, how would I react to this situation if my best friend was telling me this is the way that she was being treated? Because if your best friend looked you in the face and told you the things that are happening to you currently, how would you expect to react to that? You would be furious. You would be disgusted. You would be disappointed. You would be sad. You would never allow that treatment to happen to somebody that you care about.
On the same note, if you were ever afraid to tell your best friend about your relationship or things that are happening in your relationship because you know that she won't approve because it's bullshit, maybe take a second to think, why am I in this relationship? Should I be in this relationship? Is this relationship actually worth it? Or is my best friend, before you've even told her, right?
If you've spoken words about a person to your best friend or your mother or somebody who's very close to you and cares very much about your feelings, and then turn around and expect them to not have any feelings about it when the person changes their behavior, just know that those feelings, those stories, those emotions sit with a person because they care about you and they care about the way that you feel. And maybe they're trying to be supportive and maybe they're trying to be loving because they don't want to, cross your boundaries by telling you what you should or shouldn't do. But that's not going to change the perception they have of the person and the way they treated you. So be careful of what you tell people if you're not sure what you're going to do in a relationship. Because if you go to your best friend and say, this guy spit in my face, no, I'm never gonna like him again.
But here's the thing on the other side of that. It's don't be afraid. If it's really your best friend, you should be able to tell them
and vent.
And you shouldn't have to cover up what's really going on. If someone's spitting in your face, obviously that's grounds for fucking annihilation.
But people have done that, said, this guy spit in my face.
And then like they
got back together,
and then they
like,
expect you to just like
brought him to fucking Christmas dinner. I'm like,
you're like, no. Well, here's the thing. Obviously, I understand. Like, I feel like Madison's talking to me in like a sense, like
Said
a little bit indirectly, because Madison is very good at being the person that I go to for advice, and then the second that I ruin the reputation of whoever I'm talking to by just telling her the truth, they're cut. And she does a good job at like refining it a little bit, like giving them a second chance if I'm giving them a second chance. But I think if you don't have a best friend that you feel like you can tell things to like wholeheartedly, then you need to A, find a new best friend, and then B, if you're questioning whether or not you should tell your best friend these things about your relationship,
find a new man.
Maybe you should just find a new relationship, because I mean, your family and your friends are the ones that love you more than you love yourself. Like, they're able to see things that sometimes you're not able to see because you're clouded by love. It's called rose-colored glasses. Like, we've all been there. I'm there at least once a month.
I do understand though, like it's not always that simple, because
it's not so black and white. Like, me and Madison do butt heads sometimes with this, not like butt heads, but like I think we don't always see eye to eye with it, probably because there's only one of us now going through turmoil ever. There's no like
I never come back and I'm like, my husband is such a dick to me. Yeah.
She has the perfect relationship and everything's amazing. So it's hard for her to understand, which I appreciate and also understand, why she would be like less willing to listen to the bullshit that the rest of us have to put up with. However, it's really just not that black and white. I mean, in a sense it is, because it's like at the end of the day, like I'm going through a situation right now where it's like if I had just listened to Madison, I wouldn't be here. But it's just not that fucking black and white.
It's never that simple. And I would never expect it to be that simple, because like I said, I'm never going to impede on your boundaries to the point where it's like I am telling you what to do or making you feel unsafe, making me an unsafe space for you to tell me things.
And I appreciate that, because I would hate that.
I think it's fucking gross when people cut people out of their lives or make it very difficult for them to tell them things just because they have their own emotions about things. Because I came from a situation, you know, where when I got out of my abusive relationship, I didn't have a fucking friend left.
Yeah.
And I understand why people cut me off. I do. But all I needed in that time was some support.
Yeah.
And not that I'm saying that what you're going through is like abusive, but I do think that there's a level of like human beings aren't perfect.
Well, I think you're also very cutthroat. Like you, and it's because you have found the proof that it exists. So it makes sense that you're like,
better, yeah.
It makes sense that you're like, there's better out there.
You don't
like,
have to put up with this.
Why would you put up with that? I was telling Madison earlier, I was like, I feel like sometimes it's hard to believe that there's better out there in relationships when you just haven't experienced it yet. You see it happen around you. You see it happen to your best friends. You see it happen to old schoolmates, colleagues, everyone around you. But when it's not happening for you, sometimes you just think like, is this it? I'm not like desperate to find it, but I'm also the type of person that doesn't find it easily. But it's always like when I do find it, it's just somebody that's just completely not the right person. And I will be honest, like I see the signs early on. And for some reason, I just have a hard time walking away when I first see it. And
You're driven by your emotions. It's like you see the signs logically, but you feel what you feel. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I have never done the same exact thing. Like you feel what you feel about somebody, and it doesn't change the way you feel about them just because they're not exactly what you thought they would be or what you wanted them to be.
Yeah. And I think another fault to myself is like I'm too understanding and I see too much of like the other side where it makes it impossible to like focus on my own self. But just, you know, I don't want to sound like I'm complaining. Well, like recently I had like a situation happen where I finally, for the first time, and like I want to say like any relationship ever, nothing bad really happened, but I saw something and recognized something within them and myself and the situation that I didn't want to deal with anymore. Like I didn't want, not only did I not want to deal with it, but I knew that it wasn't something that I deserved. And I knew that it was not something that the person that I'm supposed to be with, that I would ever even have to think of.
They would never treat you like that.
Like it would never be a concern. What was happening would never be anything that would even cross their mind. And like the conversations that I've had recently with this person, like would have just gone so differently had it been
your person.
My person.
Like your person is never going to make you feel like you're second best, or like you were an afterthought, or like they weren't sure about you. I know it's corny, and I don't think that there's one soulmate that you meet in your life and that's the only person. But I do think that there's people that you connect with on a level of, is this person going to respect me the way that I need to be respected in order to have a long relationship? Is this person going to love me the way that I need to be loved in order to have a successful 40, 50, 60 year relationship? And you know within 3 months of meeting somebody if they have those qualities or if they don't. How long you choose to get dragged for is totally up to you. But you have to remember, the longer you hold on and get dragged, the less opportunity you have to get picked up by a new knight.
When I was getting my haircut, shout out Sydney, she's known about like the kind of situationship that I've been in for a while. And she was like kind of surprised when I came in. I was like, yeah, it's still a thing. And she's like, is he stopping you from meeting your soulmate?
Probably.
And that stuck with me because do I think this person is my soulmate? No. And then there's the other side of me. It's like, then why am I wasting my time? But it's like, here's the thing. Again, it's so easy. And I'm sure like someday I'll look back on this and be like,
you dumb bitch.
Yeah. Like you're wasting your own goddamn time when I finally meet the person that was like worth all of it. I think I've just had like every single person I meet is so horrible that like when I do meet somebody that I connect with, that's kind, that I can giggle with, that has like, you know, check. Maybe they're not the perfect person for me, but like they're better than every other 100th guy that's asked me on a date this month. That makes me sound like I have 100 guys, but like truly, like I meet a lot of people and a lot of people ask me out and like I consider it, and then I meet one person that's not my person, that I know is not my person.
And you're locked in. But this is the thing about the burnt toast theory, is like you're gonna meet the right person when you're gonna meet the right person. You're with the wrong person right now for the right amount of time so that you can meet the right person. However, when the universe is throwing signs at you to close the door and you keep it open, you could potentially be fucking up that theory by waiting too long. You know what I mean? Like you missed the first car accident, but you got in the second one.
I had a thought earlier when I was going pee. I was thinking about the current, most recent relationship, situationship, whatever that I had been in. And I was thinking about how he had ticked so many boxes, checked so many things off the list that I had been lacking in other relationships, but also dropped the ball in some really, really big ways.
And you were telling me off camera, at least he's not a piece of shit, but that doesn't mean he's your person. He's just one step closer to the person that you're supposed to be with.
And on that note, we will end the pod. This was a long pod.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. Cheers, baddies. Episode 36.
Tink. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats.
Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. Skrillex.